Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of No Boundaries. It's your girl Aisha checking in. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So, today is Friday, so you know what time it is. It's time for the freestyle. So, on this Freestyle Friday, we're still in this series called Becoming. So, today we're going to talk about becoming a leader. And what better way to talk about becoming a leader than having a leadership quote? Yes. So our lovely friends on the internet helped me find this quote. So I'm going to read it for you verbatim. It says, "If your actions, what you do, if it inspires someone to dream, learn, do more, and to become more, then you, my friend, are a leader." Yes, you are a leader. And if you're anything like me, you don't feel like you're a leader. You just feel like you just being you, and people kind of dig your style, and they just say, you know what, I'm gonna ask her, or I'm gonna take that point of view from her. I'm gonna take that bit of advice of wisdom and whatnot from her. So yes. So according to our quote from John Quincy Adams, according to our internet friends, you are a leader if you do those things. If someone is learning from you, becoming, doing more, going the extra mile, they are making their actions parallel with what they're learning from you in their time that is spent with you. So whether you realize it or not, um, you are making deposits into people. So let's ask our friends at Merriam-Webster what it really is by their definition to be a leader. So, according to Merriam Webster, our friends say that being a leader is one who directs, guides, and possesses authority and influence. One who is a pace setter, a trend setter, even a trailblazer. So, it's like you could be the first to do it, or you could be the best to ever do it. You're a leader. So, I wanted to take some key points and focus on the characteristics of a leader and the actions of a leader. So, in looking at the viewpoints, the few key points that I have, so it's kind of like an intersection of life where character road meets focus lane. So, when you are looking at your character, some of your characteristics traits should be looking at the road you're traveling, what you have traveled, and what's set before you. And in regards to the wisdom you've garnered from your experiences, I don't like to call them failures, I like to call them lessons. So, from the successes and the lessons, I don't want to call them L's or losses because no experience is ever wasted. That's my interpretation of the Bible scripture, Romans 8 and 28, where it says that all things are working for our good. So I feel like no experience is ever wasted. Either you grow and you learn from it, there's something that you retain. Something is beneficial. Not there's no wasteland. You know what I'm saying, from your experiences. So it's like, if I'll give you an example. So to say, like, how many of us as a kid, we've done something that our parents told us not to do or our guardian told us not to do, and you touch a hot pot, and what do? Your initial reaction is you cry, you feel pain, but you learn, right? You learn from that process. So it wasn't wasted. You learn from that process to follow directions. You learn from that process not to touch things. And you learn from that process that, okay, if I go against the grain, this is the consequence, pain, and I don't like that feeling. So you learn that what you hear is important. You learn that what you see and mimic is important, and you learn that your actions have a good effect or a challenging effect, but you also learn that you can retain wisdom and knowledge and understanding from those experiences, and that contributes to you being a leader, in my personal opinion. Also, for your thoughts, your habits, and your disciplines as a leader are important characteristics of a leader. So, how you think. I was just having a conversation with someone the other day about in my journey, I've learned that I have to be careful how I talk to myself because we talk about how people disrespect us. How about how you disrespect yourself? What's in here? What's rehearsed in your hearing dominates your thinking. What's in your heart comes out of your mouth. So how you feel about yourself in here, where no one else can see, it impacts what you say and how you treat yourself. So it's like you have to be mindful what you say to yourself as well as what you say to others. So it's like those thoughts they should be forward moving, they should be positive, they should challenge you with accountability in regards to the opposite being negative, kind of depressive, Debbie Downer kind of thing. This mentality, like, beating a dead horse kind of thing. Yeah, so we don't want to do that as a leader. We want to be mindful of our thoughts, be mindful of our heart positions, so we can be in the right frame of mind. Also, another thing I jotted down were habits. So it's like, what habits are you developing? And I used to tell my kids when they were younger that habits are like rhythmic. What type of rhythm are you developing in your life? Rhythm and routines develop habits. So it's like, what type of habits do you have? Are they good habits? Are they bad habits? Are they habits that are in a gray area where you're just like, okay, it's permitted, but is it benefiting me in any way? Because the Bible talks about that too. Yes, we're going to do a little Bible thumping today. So the Bible talks about that too, that everything that is permissible is not beneficial. So are your habits, even though they're allowed, they're not committing a sin, they're not breaking the law in any way, shape, or form, are they benefiting you to propel you to where you want to go, to propel you into who you want to be? Are those habits beneficial? If not, then we need to do some inventory and change those habits. Another factor for character would be discipline. So this is where your girl struggles. And while I have a level of discipline, I desire to be more disciplined. So it's like practice. We've been taught that practice makes perfect, but I feel like practice makes progress, and we will never be perfect. But if we are progressively moving, then we can achieve what we, set out to do. And in whatever time period we set out to do it, or get closest to the mark as we can. So those disciplines, again, those disciplines include your thoughts. Those disciplines include your habits. Those disciplines include sometimes just being quiet and being still and taking a moment, taking a need to rest and kind of soak it all in. And so you can absorb what you need to chew the meat, spit out the bones, and keep it moving for the next round of life, right? Also, these things help when you're leading a team. They help you, they help your team. When you are in a group of people and you're working on leadership, it's like they look at you. They look at your body language. They look at how you dress, what your demeanor is. They listen carefully to the words, the expression of those words. Is there a little exaggeration going on? Is there a little, because sometimes when people are talking, they look past you and they're talking. And when you don't make that eye connection and that body language is off, they stop believing what you say. They stop hearing you, and they're lost in the sauce. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like you want to make sure that you're engaged, that you're helping yourself, and not just yourself, helping your team, the people that you're leading and responsible for, to get to the point of destiny. So remember earlier when I talked about there's an intersection between character road and focus lane. So another thing you have to do, we want to make sure that we're focusing on what's beneficial and what's important, and you're paying attention to the details, because details are very important. Make sure you stay in your designated area of focus, because sometimes if we don't have, and that requires you making an itinerary. So you know how you go to meetings? I've been to meetings and there's someone taking meeting minutes, and then there's always an agenda so we can stay on track. So it's like, what is your agenda for the day? What would be your agenda for a team project that you're working on? So you can have like 5 pertinent bulletin points for you to focus in on, and then have like a closer and say, hey, you know what, this is how we're going to end our session, get some feedback, see what works and what doesn't work, and then we'll meet up here again at some other point in time to do some type of measurement to see if we met the mark or not. Also, focus requires you setting boundaries. I know. I know the podcast is called No Boundaries, but that came from a different perspective, and we'll get back into that at some other point in time. But boundaries are important as well, because it's like you have to draw the line in the sand with communication. You have to protect your space and your peace, and you have to protect your position as well as being a leader. You don't want people to think that, that you're so lax that they can say and do anything and be disrespectful in a way to all you've accomplished, to your skill set, your title, the rapport that you have with your other peers. And it takes is just one person, for a lack of better terms, to try you. And then other people think that they can do the same thing and be disrespectful and rude and cross the line with, jokes, behaviors, your time. So it's like you want to set the tone. That's important too in your focus area. Also, you want to be able to foster new behaviors. So it's like, okay, if you know that, let's say your person has an issue with being on time, you want to encourage them to say, hey, I remember my daughter, sidebar, my daughter used to tell me, she would say, when she first started like her summer job, she was just like, I was taught that to be early is to be on time, and to be on time is to be late. And I was just like, yeah, your mama need to work on that one. That's my truth. I need to work on that one. And so it's like coming in a bit earlier, scheduling meetings. And, I know this is going to sound petty, but, if the meeting is at 5:00, okay, Sarah Sue, I need you to be here at 4:30. To get prepared to do whatever. That is my designated time for you to be here, regardless of other people coming at 5:00. So that keeps them on their toes and keeps them in alignment with being a good steward of their time. And not every situation will require that. Each situation is different, whether it's time or whether it's, preparation for a project, whatever the case may be. Each situation is different, so just judge it accordingly. And so again, to be a leader, you would be an influencer, you would be an enforcer, you would be someone who sets the benchmark for things. Your behaviors, your thoughts are important, your level of focus is important, your level of discipline is important. So we just wanted to make sure that we're fostering those things as we go on to become, because whether you are at home, at work, at church, in the gym, whatever, you are leading in some way, shape, or form. Someone is watching you. That's my main point. Someone is watching you, and you never know, what you're doing in that moment affects them in some way, shape, or form. You might be that level of focus and leadership that they needed today. You might be the example that they needed to see that they can do it. Like, I'm going to give you an example when it comes to the whole weight loss journey. I remember when I very first started out and I had a female trainer, and we were in the gym, and I didn't know someone was recording me. I'm just doing whatever I was told to do. And I was like over 300 pounds at that point. I think I was like maybe almost 320. So I'm in the gym doing what I need to do and, pushing through it. And I felt like, okay, I felt accomplished and just doing my thing. But unbeknownst to me, someone was recording me and posted it on TikTok. So, your girl was just like, the audacity, like, why would you do that? But as I look back, and when my trainer told me about the posting on TikTok, she was saying that it wasn't a negative post, even though it was intrusive in a way because someone's working out in the gym and they're doing their thing. She was saying that he was saying that there was no excuses. So he used that as an example to tell someone who is like, they got all these excuses. about why they can't move, why they can't do this and do that. And he was using it to say, you know what, yes, she's a person of a bigger size, but she's in here putting in work just like anyone else who's got a six pack. So it doesn't matter about, you have to start somewhere, basically, is what I took from it. So it's like, again, that goes to say you never know who's watching you, and your life is a life of leadership, whether you want it to be or not. You're not being someone's poster child or someone's role model that you signed up for, but still, people are always watching you. People are always listening to what you say, how you treat yourself, how you treat others. So remember that as becoming a leader, that your intersection of character, road, and focus lane are very important. So as always, I want to encourage you to be the greatest version of yourself. Stay focused. Be humble, have good character in your leadership role in life, whether you are on a board of directors or not. You are the leader of your home, the leader of your destiny, the leader in whatever position you possess in life, as far as your work goes, in your friendships, amongst your family. You are a leader. So that is very important. So as always, I want to encourage you to be the greatest version of yourself and lead as you should. Stay safe and God bless.